Hello, welcome to the Kindle Podcast Network from Keep Indiana Learning. This episode is just one of many featured podcasts in which experts from around the state and beyond discuss the things that matter in education. Subscribe, follow, do all of the things. And now, today's episode.
Welcome to the Homegrown podcast by Keep Indiana Learning. Join us as we pull back the curtain and dive into the trenches to shed light on educational issues that interest you. Listen and rediscover the joy of teaching. Well, welcome to this very special edition of the Homegrown podcast. I'm your host, Chick Harker, and this is the start of our 6th season, so that's a reason to celebrate as well. And this episode is going to talk a little bit about school-to-community connections. And I have a very, very special guest here with me today, Sue Harker, and you'll recognize that last name, I hope. Sue Harker, a lifelong Hoosier, registered nurse for, over 60 years, probably, 60 or so years. Yeah. And really avid artist, excellent painter, and an all-around great mom, especially. So welcome, Mom, to the podcast.
Thank you.
Our topic today is Camp Whitley. Camp Whitley is a residential summer camp that started in 1928 in Whitley County. It was started by Walter Stevenson, who was a PE teacher at the local high school and wanted someplace for, at that point, sorry, Mom, boys to go during the summer and give them something to do so they weren't just running the streets and bored. And so he took them out to Camp Whitley, which is about 9 miles outside of town in this small farming community of Columbia City. And on Troy Cedar Lake, he started Camp Whitley. I think it went by a different name at that point. Camp of Whitley County.
I can't remember.
Something like that. The official name came about 10 years later when they had a contest and voted that Camp Whitley would be its official name. But he started this camp in 1928. And so this camp has been running for now almost 100 years. They've got their 100-year celebration coming up. And the school-to-community connection that it has fostered over the years has been amazing. In 1938, Walter Stevenson sold the land that Camp Whitley was on to the local school system, and the school board and the school system ran it then for about the next 55 years until a nonprofit finally took it over in 1995 or 6. And it's just been and continues to be a real institution, really, in every sense of the word, here in Whitley County. Like I said, the connection and the community that it has built, being part of the school system for so long, is immeasurable. The hundreds of workers and counselors and directors that it's had, the thousands of campers over the years. Oh my gosh, I can't even begin to imagine.
From all counties and out of state sometimes.
From everywhere, because, people would go to Camp Whitley as a child and then grow up and move away, and then their kids would come back and go to Camp Whitley. So it's just been the epitome of building a community between the school and its inhabitants. This camp really was that connection. It runs for about 6 weeks every summer. 3 weeks of boys camp, 3 weeks of girls camp, and it really has by and large been unchanged for the last 97 years.
Very little change.
Yeah. So the reason I'm talking to you today is that you are among, I think we're talking earlier, not quite the oldest living female camper.
Right.
We know of at least one other that's older, but certainly among those that are still alive that remember Camp Whitley back from the 40s and 50s. So you went to camp, and I'll have you tell a little bit about the story, but you went to camp in the late 40s, about 1947?
Yes, it had to be. I went 1 year because we moved to Columbia City that summer. And I got to know some people some kids from church that I knew, and they were going, so I got to go that year for 1 year, and then after that I was too old.
Too old, because you were going into 8th grade.
In 8th grade.
Right, and this camp, and it has remained so, is for kids 1st through 8th grade. And depending on the ages, sometimes someone can go, nowadays someone could go before their 8th grade year and be done, or maybe after their 8th grade year and be done before they go to high school. So what do you remember about the camp at that time? Because at this point it's pretty primitive.
Yes, right, but it was more primitive when I was
It's very primitive now,
yes.
But even more so. Do you remember, for example, what were the living quarters like? Do you remember?
Well, the buildings probably would be, the outside buildings would probably be very similar. They weren't nicely painted like they are now sometimes, but they were solid. And they still had all the writings on the walls inside and everything that they still do have now, regardless of. But the actual buildings were pretty much the same, only a little more primitive, because nobody was real sophisticated. It was an outdoor camp, and that's the way it was run, as an outdoor camp.
And what about, I know some of our listeners are going to ask, what about the facilities?
Okay. We had good old outdoor facilities.
Outhouses.
Outhouses, right. Primitive ones, just like they used to have on the farm.
So did you have a structure around it?
Yeah, we did have. We had a structure.
Because even when I went in the 70s, I remember there being old wooden structures that we didn't use anymore, but they were still there.
Yeah, they were just like old outhouses. That's what we had, and that's what we used. And as far as washing up or anything, up by the kitchen, we had a half rack. It had a roof, half roof, but it was open. And then down below was a wooden rack that had little boxes where your toothbrush and soap was, if you chose to use soap.
The cubbies, we called them cubby holes, the cubbies.
Yeah, you had a cubby hole there. And that was the extent of your facilities right there. So it was very primitive. We used those facilities about like they still do when we were told we had to.
Yeah. And you were on Lake Choice Cedar Lake, and so I know there's a story. And when I went, we would swim the lake And if you were able to swim the lake, you got a ribbon that said so. But you swam the lake basically.
I did, yeah. I had learned to swim, but not here. So many of the kids, that's where they learned to swim.
Really?
At Camp Whitley. Yeah, they had not been. Of course, this is lake area. And a lot of the kids had access to lakes and learned to swim, where I did not. But I did learn to swim in the big Warsaw Lake.
Oh, okay.
And so when I came here, I was able to get a ribbon swimming the lake.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They would take us out by boat to about halfway, and we had to swim back in.
Do you remember anybody not being able to?
Not directly, but I'm sure there were.
And maybe having to get back in the boat, or?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure there were.
Those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know there's stories, and we're going to talk in a little bit to what we think is the oldest living camper in just a few minutes. But there's a story about the food, and that when it started, the kids had to bring a sack of groceries with them, and then whoever the cook was just made food out of whatever everybody brought. And do you
imagine?
Oh, well, now with the internet, we have apps that you can put the ingredients in that are in your cabinet, and it will spit out a recipe for those ingredients. So we still are doing that sort of thing, but just the technology's a little different.
Right.
The recipe's a little different. So do you remember much about the food situation? Did you bring your sack of groceries, or?
No, we did not. And so obviously we paid more to go than what they did a few years ahead of us. But we had just basic foods. We had cold cereal for breakfast most of the time.
Okay.
And I'm sure whatever kind they bought was on sale for that week at the store. So, it was varied. But we had a cook who, I guess she must have been pretty good, because I don't remember not going hungry.
No complaints. And by that time, by 1947, it had been owned by the school system for almost 10 years.
Yeah, so they were pretty
So maybe the school system had gotten involved and...
Yeah, their school cooks and so forth, yes.
Right.
And I'm sure they were involved, yeah.
Yeah, very good. I know when I went in the 70s, we had a lot of, by that time, government foods like government cheese and government milk and things like that we would get for cheap or free.
Yeah. And I don't remember anything about that. I just,
the
food was there, and they fed us 3 times a day, and that was it.
Do you remember any of the activities that you did during the camp? The games that you played or activities that you did?
We had a craft series, or, we could make some kind of craft. I have no idea what I did at that point. But we did have something to do with crafts. We had the usual tag type games, and we had what they still have with the ball and the rod.
Tetherball.
Is that tetherball?
Tetherball, yes, where you have to hit it and wrap it up in your direction.
I think we had that, but that was probably pretty close to all we had.
Okay.
But the games that you play, tag type games,
Dodgeball was always my favorite.
Oh yeah, that was always a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's all that I can recall at the time. Like I say, I was pretty new to the whole situation.
And speaking of that, what an amazing way for a new young person to really become a part of the community.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you probably, I'm guessing, and you can verify this or deny it, but I'm guessing that 1 week at camp as a new 12-year-old to the community really gave you a great head start then that fall at school, because you knew a bunch of the people already.
You already knew some of the kids, because it was a real different experience. I had never moved from the small town of Bourbon that I came from
Yeah.
and into what I thought was a big town.
This big city in 1947, probably a couple thousand people,
Yeah.
maybe.
And
The big city.
Yeah, the big city. Well, it was to me. And I got to know some of the kids, and I think that helped me immensely when I started school that fall.
Yeah. And as a teacher, I can't help but think that Camp Whitley over the years has played a major role in just simple discipline in the school system, because so many kids attended camp where they saw administrators, principals, teachers, in that environment, in that kind of relaxed, fun environment, and then went to school and saw those same teachers and principals sometimes, but already had kind of that relationship with them. And how much did that affect their behavior in the school in a positive way?
Right. It had to have a good effect. It really did.
Yeah.
They had to follow. We had to follow certain rules.
Sure.
There were a
Oh,
lot
sure.
of laxities there. We didn't have to change our clothes every day and go brush our teeth. If we didn't brush our teeth, that was our problem, you know.
I never
That
brushed
kind
my
of thing.
teeth either out there.
Oh,
You know.
Yeah. Yes, or change clothes.
Oh. Okay, we're not going to talk about that
No,
one.
we're not going to.
But-
I can give you a few stories on that one that'll just make you blush. With coming across the big grounds from the lake to the cabins, and this little guy's coming with his high top shoes,
My clodhoppers.
no socks, and the shirt that he went in, and this was when we were getting ready to take him home, was still on.
Yeah.
So things like that occurred.
I was having too much fun to change clothes.
Right.
Far too much fun. But I love thinking about that connection to the school and the effect that Camp Whitley has had. Like you said, it has had to have had a really big positive effect
Oh, and it was.
on the kids at school.
It
And
always-
building that community, you're building your group of friends. And I think there's books and books on this about how kids today lack that outdoor play, that unsupervised
Right. Yeah, it's
play.
Yeah.
And that, because that's where you learn to deal with conflict and deal with other people.
Yes.
And I think Camp Whitley just played such a huge part in so many young kids' lives.
They'll remember certain things about it
Yeah.
all of their life. Yeah.
And I think even more so now, because it's a week in the summer where kids can unplug,
And that's exactly
which
what
is
they do.
it, and it's what they need.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
we need it more today than ever before. Well, thank you so much for
You're
talking with
so
us.
Welcome.
We were talking earlier about we were looking at an old photo, and you commented that there was one girl in that photo from the time, it wasn't the week you were at camp,
No,
but
right.
it was around that period, that time period, and you remarked that there was one girl in that picture that was still alive, and you knew she was older than you.
Yeah.
So I may have to do a second part to this series and see if I can find her.
She's right here in Columbia City.
And interview her as well. I think that would be so interesting.
She would love it,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
That would be so interesting. So watch for that. So right now, we're going to move to part 2 of our talk today with the person that we believe to be
I think, we don't know positively, but
definitely, I think, the oldest living male camper, but depending, I'd have to compare his age to the other woman's age to see.
she's a year older than Chick, I believe.
Oh, so she may be the actual oldest camper.
Yeah.
So that means we're going to talk today with the oldest living male camper, we believe. If there's somebody out there that is older, that you know, give us a shout out. You can contact me, Jeff Harker, at jharker@ciesc.org. I'll throw that out there just in case there's somebody listening that knows of their grandpa that may be older. So we'll see.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're
I really
welcome.
appreciate you
Thank
talking to us.
I loved it. Loved it.
Good. I want to welcome to the show now the person that we believe is the oldest living male camper of Camp Whitley, Charles Chick Harker. And again, you may recognize that last name. Chick, as he has been known since you were born, just about 2 years old. Chick is almost a lifelong resident of Columbia City, former insurance agent, former substitute teacher, right? Since this is a show about education, right? And also, fun fact about Chick, has sung in the same church choir for 80 years now. Is that fair?
About right.
Is that a fair number? Yeah. And we are so excited to have you with us today on the show to talk about Camp Whitley. And we talked a little bit about camp. We said it started in 1928, became part of the school system under their ownership at about 1938 until about 1996 or so. And then a non-for-profit board, a nonprofit organization took over and now is run by that board of directors. To this day, they're coming up. Go ahead.
I knew the original
Walter Stevenson.
Walter
You knew
Stevenson.
him.
I knew him. They called him Steve. That was his nickname. That ran the camp. And then was Art Lloyd.
Right. Which would have been your director.
Yeah, and his assistant I knew real well, Newell Rice, called him Pappy.
Oh, okay.
Pappy Rice.
And they were part of the school system, is that
Yes,
correct?
They were teachers. They were teachers besides doing the camp work.
Yeah, because we talked with Mom earlier. This is Dad, by the way, for our listeners. I knew you would figure that out, but we're talking with Dad here today. And we were commenting that it was forever, for the last 97 years. It's been such a great community connection to the schools, and vice versa. And that relationship between the schools and Camp Whitley has really been so amazing over the years. And that a lot of the workers were teachers or associated with the schools in some way. That's where they got their employees from. And a lot of the counselors were high school kids, And what a great community builder, really.
Yeah.
So when you went to camp, it would have been the early 40s, 1941,
Yes.
42?
My first year at camp, I think, was 1941, summer of 41.
And tell us a little bit about that. What do you remember about the camp at that time?
I don't remember a lot.
It was just yesterday.
Yeah. What?
What about because I heard this story and we've talked about it, but tell our listeners about what it costs to go to camp at that time.
At that time, as 1941, as near as I can remember, it cost $5 and a sack of groceries.
A sack of groceries. What did they do with those groceries?
Well, the cook, a woman named Mary Walker, Paul and Bob Walker's mother, made our meals out of them.
Just whatever you brought.
Whatever showed up, yeah. Yeah, made our meals out of that sack of stuff.
Well, you must not have gone hungry.
No, they did a wonderful job. They were very dedicated people.
That's amazing. I can't imagine just making meals out of whatever shows up. But they did it. What kind of activities did you have out at the camp at that time? Games or other things that you did throughout the day?
We had a game we called Goofeldunkus.
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 What is Goofeldunkus?
The modern name is box hockey.
Oh, yes, I remember box hockey. Yeah.
We had box hockey and we had swimming. We had...
Now, when I went to camp, we had things like archery and riflery and played a lot of team sports like kickball and baseball and...
Yeah, we had all that.
Did you shoot bows and arrows and...
Yeah, I think we did. I think we had bow and arrow.
They had animals.
Did you have animals out there too?
Yeah. The first horse I was around was at a farm immediately next to camp.
Oh, okay.
Big plow horse, big animal. Not sleek like a racing.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And that would have been in 1941.
And how many years were you a camper? Did you go every year that you could?
Every year I could, and I think that was 8.
Okay.
I think. And I became a counselor.
Oh, okay. In high school then?
Yeah. When I was in high school, I was a counselor.
And you had, if I remember the story though, tell our listeners, you had a special job as one of the counselors. What was your special job?
I was the bugler.
The bugler, yes. Tell us about that.
Well, in those days, to get up the camp, call the camp to noon meal, things like that, you blew the bugle. I was the bugler.
Did you know different songs or different...
No, it was a real bugle. No keys.
Oh, okay.
And that's how you called the campers to a certain activity.
What's that called? Is that reveille?
Reveille is when you get up.
Okay.
And then you call them to eat I don't know that had
That
a
is
name.
so much fun.
Yeah. And
We just had whistles, or we just yelled.
and you called for, if there was a meeting or something special, there's a name for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is either. Hopefully you never had to play taps. Isn't taps what you play when someone dies?
Yes, but that's also bedtime.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I played that every night.
So, you went to camp. Your wife went to camp, who we just talked to. You have 4 children. Myself and my 3 older sisters, we all went to camp. You have 8 grandchildren who all went to camp. You have 4 great-grandchildren. 3 of the 4 of them have attended camp. And in fact, a couple of them just went to camp a couple of weeks ago, this summer. How does that feel? How do you feel thinking about 4 generations that have been able to benefit from this institution that's part of this community?
Well, it's an ongoing thing. I think you get a feeling that now I'll never die, because some of the things I've done and said and example that I set when I didn't even know anybody was watching will live on.
That's a great way of looking at that.
Yeah. You as you get older, and how old am I, Mom? 90 something.
91. You'll be 92 in a couple of weeks.
Wow. It's pretty sharp, huh? As you get older, I think that's what you think about. That the things I do will go on.
And I think of the word, when I think of Camp Whitley and campers that have been out there from the beginning, I think of the word legacy. This idea, kind of like you were describing, this idea that even without knowing it, by attending camp and participating in those activities, you're passing on a tradition, a legacy, the community, you're keeping going that community connection.
An inheritance.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I like it. It just makes me smile that what you mentioned, when you're out there as a camper, you have no idea. You're not thinking about that.
No.
You have no idea that you are part of that legacy.
It's like other things I believe in life. We set example every day for somebody.
Right.
And we don't even know it. Maybe we've never met. I know I'm setting an example for those around me, but I'm also setting an example for people I don't know and will never meet.
And I think it's a credit to Camp Whitley and the Columbia City school systems that kept that going for so many years, and the current board that is continuing that tradition. It's such a credit to them to have kept up this tradition of Camp Whitley.
Exactly, because I feel that also builds for the future community leadership.
Oh yeah. One of my good friends growing up. He was at Camp Whitley. I have a picture, I think I have a picture of him with me out at Camp Whitley. Eventually became one of the mayors of Columbia City, Doug Fall. And so I think you're absolutely right. It builds that sense of community young, and for those that stay in the Columbia City area, it really has an effect on them.
Yes, exactly.
A positive effect for the community itself. I can't imagine, I can't think of what this community would be like if Camp Whitley had never existed.
Really. Really, and as you look back, the adult leadership that I remember, Art Lloyd, Newell Rice, some more if I really work at remembering it, were community leaders. They were teachers besides, and people we respected and looked up to, and that was part of the camping experience.
Yeah. Is building that relationship with them as well. Mom and I were talking earlier that I wonder, and maybe you can speak to this, when you went to camp and you got to know, for example, Art Lloyd and Newell Rice, did that have any effect on you then when you went back to school that fall and maybe saw them in that school setting?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it did. I'm sure. I realized they were more than I knew they were. Leadership quality.
They're not just the teacher saying, "Hey, sit down and get to work."
Yeah. They were wonderful people.
And I can imagine the profound effect that years and years and years of kids going to camp, it had to have an effect on them when they went back to school. Their friend group, their friend circle was bigger because they got to know everyone.
I had friends from Fort Wayne and from all over the area because of camp when I was growing up.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That it has to have helped. Just the community in general.
Yeah, it's a broadening. You feel the work and presence of all those people.
Yeah, I remember my time at camp. I went to camp first, I think, in 1973. And like you, I was a camper for 8 years. I became a counselor. I spent, I think, a total of 19 summers out there. And so, that's like a third of my life now, almost. In summers out at Camp Whitley. I did everything from, I was a counselor, I was head counselor, I was a cook, I was a lifeguard, I was an assistant director, I was director one year in 1996. And even today, I feel a sense of pride, certainly, that I was a part of all that.
Yeah.
But also gratitude that I got to be a part of all that. And how great is that?
Yeah, you can't buy that.
You cannot. I wouldn't trade it for a second. From where my first year when I have pictures of me being dropped off in that yellow shirt, brown shorts, and clodhoppers. I had socks on when we started.
I was just gonna say no socks.
And then when you picked me up, I have a picture of me laying on the porch of my cabin in the yellow shirt, brown shorts, and clodhoppers, but no socks.
No socks.
I can't imagine what I smelled like at that time. But I'll tell you what, that first year, I was hooked. I was hooked and spent 18 more summers out there. You know, and I had the time of my life. It just was so freeing of an environment, you know, and it was just so much fun. You know, everything from that to when I was a cook and we spilled a big cookie sheet. We were making Jell-O squares, and we spilled a big sheet of red Jell-O into the freezer, into the big freezer that we were trying to put it in to get it to cool faster. That was not fun to clean up. But those kind of memories I have about my time at Camp Whitley. I absolutely loved it. I still have some of the ribbons that I got. I still have some of your ribbons, Mom. Mom's sitting over here listening. I still have a couple of your ribbons.
Oh, really?
That you won at Camp Whitley in a box at home. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be darned.
I'll be darned. Yeah. So, and there's stories like this, you know, from the thousands of kids that have gone to camp, whether they went 1 year or all 8 or something in between. Those stories are perpetuated all over from the thousands of campers that have been there. Let me see if there's something. There was something else I wanted to ask you about. But anyway, so any other memories or anything that you want to share about your time at Camp Whitley? Anything you can remember?
I remember what fun it was, the meals. The meals were fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different, and it was my first experience, like most people my age, of being away from home overnight and figuring out, hey, this isn't so bad. And that I was growing, I was maturing.
Yeah, we talked earlier about this fact that kids today don't play outside like they used to. And camp really is a place for them to unplug from their phones and from technology and just play and be kids. But that's where you learn about conflict and how to deal with other people. And so I'm sure camp played a major part in that.
Yeah, yeah. It helps you grow up.
Yeah, yeah.
Helps you
By letting you be a kid. Ironically, it
Yeah.
helps you grow up by letting you be a kid.
That's right.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the cabins, because when Mom went to camp, they had actual wooden cabins. But did they have cabins when you were there? Because I know when they first started, they had tents.
That's what I started with, those tents.
Okay.
And
So it was primitive for a long time, but really primitive when you started with the tents.
I was trying to think of some names. It's been too long. Remember, I'm 90-something. The director in those days was a guy like Art Lloyd. It was a summer job, yes, and he got paid, but his heart was in it.
It kind of like what they say about teaching, you know, you don't do it for the money. Yeah, we never did it for the money. Nobody ever works out at Camp Whitley for the money.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing some of your memories with us.
Well, I wish the memory was better.
We all do. We all do. But thank you. This is going to help the legacy that we talked about kind of live on. You know, people in 50 years will be able to look back and say, well, what was camp like? You know, by then there won't be anybody around that was there in those early days. And, you know, they'll be able to watch this video and say, oh, that's really cool. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Don't go anywhere. We've got a bonus guest for you. I sat down with Harriet Hamilton of Columbia City, who we now believe to be the third oldest living Camp Whitley camper, moving my dad to fourth, though the oldest living male camper at this point, and my mom to fifth. Let's take a listen. Well, hello, Harriet.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the show. Harriet, you are, we've been talking a little bit about if there are campers older, and we have talked about a couple of campers that we believe we've got an old photo here, and we believe there may be a couple of girls in this photo that are just slightly older than you.
Exactly.
We probably won't get to talk to them. They live in other states now. But you are definitely one of the oldest living campers. Sorry, I don't have an award for you to hand you. But when did you go to camp?
I went to camp in the early 40s.
In the early 40s,
yeah.
okay. So right about the time that Art Lloyd would have taken over.
Yeah, oh, yeah, he was there. In fact, before I went, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the one interesting thing that I remember talking to Dad about was the food at camp. Do you remember what the food was like at
I
camp?
remember when I first started going to camp, it probably was, well, I don't know whether it was after the war started. Anyway, everybody that went to camp had to take a grocery bag of food to that for that week, and that's where the cooks got their food.
I'll say the same thing I said to Dad. I can't imagine how they did that. How they made meals out of whatever they got.
Well, I think probably as many people as there were probably duplicates of
Sure.
what people bought.
Do
yeah.
you remember being well fed?
Yeah.
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 So it must have turned out okay.
Yeah. I don't remember what all the food was, but we didn't starve. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of activities do you remember doing?
We had riflery,
Okay.
and we had archery, and we had swimming, and we had crafts,
Okay.
and that's about then those were about the extent of what we had.
And it's so interesting because that was, let's say, 1941, 42.
Yeah, yeah.
And now here in 2025, those four activities are still the mainstay of what the kids do every day.
Do they still go to Tinkham's Woods?
Absolutely they do. Yes.
In fact, I had just after you called the other day, that I thought, we went to Tinkham's Woods. It was supposed to be scary. And
Scary, haunted, yes.
Yeah, at night, yeah.
By Old Man Tinkham.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that when I went to camp. They still do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, we found out Tinkham's Woods was purchased in 1938 from a man named Harker.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
No relation that we can
figure out, yeah.
find out, but really interesting
Yeah.
that it was a man named Harker. What about any kind of sporting activities or games?
I'm sure they did I vaguely remember that we may have played some softball or something, but
Okay.
I don't remember because it was mostly the crafts and the swimming. Your mom and dad might remember. I think we had some boating. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know whether they were kayaks or, that type
Sure.
of stuff.
Sure.
But it's mostly the swimming and the crafts and stuff.
Now, Mom talked about going out, being dropped off in the middle of the lake and having to swim back for a ribbon to swim the lake.
Well,
Do you remember?
no, because I would have drowned.
Oh, no.
When I went, we would swim from the pier to the raft,
Oh, okay.
and back. Yeah.
Now, when you were there, what was that raft like? Do you remember?
No, because I didn't get there.
You didn't get there. Oh, no. Swimming was not your
No,
forte.
no. I could swim, but that was not one of my favorite things. So. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I was out there as a kid, we had a big white raft with a diving tower on it, and I didn't know I didn't know how long that had been there when I was there.
I don't remember a tower, and I think it was just a flat
Yeah.
raft. Yeah.
And what about animals? Because I know when my sisters went, right before I got there in 1973, and right before that, my sisters said that they had horses out there along the fence line next to camp. There was a farm. And I know I've talked to other people that were there before that time that said, yeah, we remember farm animals being there or any kind, and being able to interact a little bit with them. Do you remember
No, I don't remember
farm animals
no, I
like
don't
that?
remember farm animals at all. So.
Yeah. What about the point? Do you remember, was the point out there?
I don't even remember the point. Yeah.
The point was a trail that went out to a little peninsula on the lake, and we went out there and had campfires.
Yeah.
Do you remember
yeah,
that now?
yeah,
And
yeah.
That's where we told our ghost stories
Yeah,
and
yeah.
camp stories and
Yeah.
sang songs and all of that. Do you remember
Yeah, we
that?
did a lot of singing of songs and stuff. Yeah, we did
Yeah.
a lot of that. Yeah.
It is so fascinating to me. Now, what do you think while the time you were at camp, or maybe right afterwards, did you have? Let's talk about after. You were a camper for. Do you remember how many years?
Probably 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, that I remember. Yeah.
Were you involved with the camp after that at all?
No.
So not a counselor or.
My sister was a counselor.
Your
but
sister.
Yeah, my sister was a counselor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember how the camp kind of became part of the community? Because that's something we talked about with Mom and Dad, that with the school system owning it, it really became a part of the community and helped the school system as well.
Yeah. The only thing I could say about that is, to me, it was just always a part. I never thought of it as being anything other than a part of the community.
Yeah.
And most of the kids went out there in the summertime, a week. Some kids went for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of it that way too, that it's just always been here.
Yeah. We never thought of it as not being here.
Yeah. And just about, even nowadays, just about anybody you talk to walking down the street, they either went to camp, know somebody that went to camp, had a parent that went to camp, or they at least can tell you something about the camp.
As a matter of fact, now I can't tell you who it was, but there were some kids, not from Columbia City, but from somewhere in the state or out of state, that came every summer.
Yeah.
I can't tell you who they were because I don't remember anymore.
Sure.
But I do remember kids coming.
We had the same situation
yeah.
when I was a camper.
Yeah.
Because maybe their grandma and grandpa lived here.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
so they came from Texas or from Ohio or
Yeah.
someplace. And what a community builder. Mom said when she came, she went the one summer right before her 8th grade year. And she had just moved to the community. So she was brand new. And some kids that she met at church were going. And so she went. And I think, what a great way to welcome somebody to a community like this, is to send them to camp. Now, do you remember, you went to school here, right?
Oh, yeah.
In Columbia City.
Yeah.
So do you remember any of the counselors or workers that were out there that you then saw during the school year?
Now, I was trying to remember today, and I think Jean Lee Mullendore was there,
Okay.
and because I think she played the trumpet to get us up in the morning.
She was the bugler.
Yeah, she
Yes.
was a bugler. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, then my sister, being counselor, I can't remember any of the. I was thinking maybe Smoke Heinley, who would be Joan Heinley. I think she might have been a counselor, but I won't swear to that. So, but Jean Lee and then my sister. So.
Now, do you remember, were they in high school when they were counselors?
Oh yeah.
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 I just imagine that had to help inside the classroom. When kids would come back after the summer and they would know some of their teachers. They would know the administrator, maybe,
Oh, yeah.
Art Lloyd,
Yeah.
who was the principal
Yeah. Oh yeah.
at the school. You know, they, having seen them and know them in other situations, in that other setting of Camp Whitley, it had to help
Yeah.
when they got back to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had that friend group that you met at camp.
Well, most of the friends, we were friends in school. We grew up together. We were friends from the time we
So
were
that
little.
just continued.
Yeah, we just continued.
At
Yeah,
camp.
yeah. Because like with Margaret Ann and Jean, our mothers were friends and went to school together. so then, yeah,
which just proves my point.
Yeah.
The connections that camp has created
yeah,
over the now 97
Yeah,
years that
yeah.
it's been in existence.
yeah,
It just keeps growing.
yeah.
I mentioned earlier when I was interviewing Dad, the word legacy comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
That Camp Whitley really is a legacy, and how great it is that even though we didn't know it at the time, you know, when you were a camper,
We took it for granted.
you didn't know what you were part of.
No.
And you couldn't have imagined how long that would last.
Exactly.
It never crossed your mind to even think about something
Well, like I said,
that.
I didn't even know it was still running.
There you go. And I was the same way. You know, I knew I liked it. I had fun.
Yeah.
But I didn't really understand the extent of it.
I think that's, yeah.
And now, having had a career in teaching myself and seeing the web of connections between people in this community that camp has really inspired and created.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I just think so much of it. Anything else you want to add to your story?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, we just had a good time, and
And isn't that what we remember?
that's what we went for.
You just
Yeah,
remember having a good time.
yeah. Your friend, as friends, we tried to pick the same, so we would go to the same week and get
Yeah.
in the same cabin.
In the same cabin, yeah.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like about it is getting up early in the morning and having to go up and wash our face and brush our teeth with those cold pans.
Yes.
You know, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
But you had the cubby holes, right? The
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
squares.
Yeah.
Yep. I had those too.
Those two, yeah.
Boy, some
Yeah,
things.
but-
I think those are finally gone though.
Well, I would imagine. I think they
But
might
they
have
lasted a long time. I think they only got rid of them maybe 10 years ago.
heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
It-
to me, that was the worst part.
It's changed remarkably little.
Yeah.
They do have flush toilets now.
Oh, that's something different.
Yeah, I was a little sad to see the outhouses go, but
Oh, dear.
even
yeah.
when I started in 1973, we had the wooden outhouses
Yeah,
still.
yeah, exactly,
And
yeah.
while I was there, then we built cement outhouses,
yeah.
but they were still outhouses. And then I think about the year 2000 or something or so, they finally broke down and got flush toilets.
For heaven's
So-
sakes, yeah. So, but it was fun, so,
It was so much
Yeah.
fun.
yeah.
This interview was fun as well.
Oh,
I
it was,
love
yeah.
talking to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I love finding out
Yeah.
about what it was like back then, and now we've got this for posterity.
How about that? Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much
Yeah,
for
well, you're
talking
quite
with
welcome.
us.
And I remember the last time I saw you
Really, it's been a while,
when Tom died.
probably.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you how many years ago that
22.
was. 22 years ago. You haven't changed a bit, Harriet.
Well, my hair has.
Mine too, probably. Mine too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I've
you're
so
quite welcome.
enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah,
I loved
sweetie.
it.
Oh, your hands
Loved
are
it.
like mine are usually cold.
Always cold.
Always cold.
Yes,
yeah.
always
Well,
cold.
look at me here, air conditioning. I sit here with the sweater on. Oh, heaven. You're flopping around your.
Thank you so much, and we will talk to you next time.
This has been a production of the Kindle Podcast Network. Follow us for more engaging conversations with people who are moving education forward.